Welcome to today's Local Yokels Podcast. As always, I want to remind everybody of our sponsorship for the show, roofworksmidsouth.com. Reach out to Josh over there, 662-303-0345. Remember, Feed My Lambs, that's also my co-sponsor for the show, it's a food security program. We put food in the backpacks of little children, elementary age, throughout the school year. 662-781-1333, minormemorial.org/lambs. Sponsor a kid, volunteer, donate, whatever you can do to be a part of it, we'd appreciate it. It's an essential program. This year, we're going to be doing our annual fundraiser on October 11th, so be looking forward to that. I'm going to have Derek on this episode actually post our event page. We're going to have some sponsorships on there that you might recognize. My Ties, Be Nutrition, people like that's going to be involved this year. Sipping on Lemonade is a new one. There's a whole bunch of them that's going to be involved. And maybe even my guest today with me, he was part of it last year. I'm going to try to hook him this year, see if he's in town. That's part of the problem usually if he's in town. But anyway, without further ado, the one and only Frog. Tony Yeager. What up?
Hello.
Took a little while to get you on here, but you're on here.
I'm a busy man.
You are. By the way, let's tell everybody that don't know you, which I'm sure tons of people do, but who you are and what you do.
My name is Tony Yeager, and I am a bounty hunter here in DeSoto County.
Mississippi.
Mississippi. Yeah. We're here in Mississippi, and pretty much that's what we do. We go around and hunt fugitives all day.
Yeah, that's your day job, night job. And then you've been hugely successful at that. You actually have a show on Discovery ID channel, Bail Jumpers.
Yes, sir. That's it.
And really cool show. It's not like your typical hunt them down, beat them up type bounty hunter show. It's the kind of show that shows like the good side of it.
That's right.
Like once you got them and then you try to talk them back into like, man, it's going to be okay. You know what I mean? Like we're going to get you in there.
Humanize them.
Humanize. It's a very soft side of the bounty hunting game. So
it is. It's a side you don't really get to see a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I know people like the exciting like cops, when they used to chase them, slam up against a car. This is not that show.
No.
Yeah. I mean, there might be a little bit of that, but then there's always
a few episodes of that.
But it's usually back like you realize they are good people who's made a couple of bad decisions,
That's right.
Because typically they're not murderers. They're somebody that's just like skipped out on bail and it could be a drug charge, like not selling drugs, but using, you know what I mean?
Could be all of it.
Could be all of it, unpaid parking fines that maybe got escalated out of control. Who knows, whatever the county sends you after.
Yeah, we actually take care of everything from driver's license charges to murder. Yeah. So it could be anything from, felonies to misdemeanors. And they missed court and they was charged with it on bond.
Yeah, and you do it in Memphis too, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now that I applaud because let me tell you something, man. Memphis is no joke. And
it's not.
It's the simplest of things down there can get you killed. Like a joker will run from you. Just the idea of getting pulled over. They just don't want to deal with the cop. So they'll take off on a high-speed chase and literally try to kill, not intentionally, but just put 100 people's lives in danger, and so they have a no chase policy up there, which is bullshit, because I'm thinking, look, just take them out. You know what I mean? Arkansas has got the right idea. Mississippi's got the right idea.
Arkansas State Troopers are not playing.
And Mississippi either, man. Like they will.
DeSoto County's the same way.
DeSoto County. I mean, and look, if they do get you, they're gonna stick a dog on you or something.
That's right.
I applaud it, man, because it needs to send a message. It really does.
They send a clear message here in DeSoto County. That's one thing about the sheriff's department here. They don't play. If you come over here, cross that line.
I don't know if you've seen this show. Sheriff Tuggle did, but he made a point to say, no, this ain't the place to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've seen what the DA said. He said he's going to change your address to Parchment if you come over here.
Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely. And he's adamant about it. Yes. We're trying to, folks, the ones that's listening that maybe, know where me and Tony are from, because me and Tony are kind of neighbors, small world. I didn't know him up till a few years ago. Obviously knew your dad for like 20 plus years, but I didn't know that was your dad. And you didn't know that
I didn't even know you knew him. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of a small world. But I used to work with him like 25 years ago in the casino world.
That's crazy.
And I remember Rick, and he was always a super cool guy. I didn't know he had kids. We didn't get that involved. But like most people, we all were kind of living in this general area that worked down there,
right.
And he made a career of it.
He did. He made a good career of it for a long time.
I jumped out of it once I realized like this is not for me,
right.
you know. And it was a good living, and I did well there, and I had a good time. I met a lot of amazing people I'm still in contact with today, but I chose a different path and went into a different world, which on these hot days, I'm kind of wondering if I made the right decision, Tony, because
I know what you mean.
Whew, man.
Today was one of them.
Yesterday was definitely one of them, but today was definitely one of them too. But however, that's how we know each other. We're from the Walls area of DeSoto County is where we live. It's a small community, but ever growing. There's a lot of people live out there. And I reached out to you a couple of years ago about helping me with my program, the Feed My Lambs program, about a car show. And you're like, shoot, yeah, if I'm in town, I will. And then you overcommitted yourself, which I do, so I totally get that. And then you weren't able to go. You come this last year. We had a super successful, even though it almost got rained out, we had this little window. We had enough cars to show up to where we had a still great show. We raised a ton of money. And I want to tell everybody this year, make sure you check us out as we post the event page. And then, of course, the whole show is about promoting others. And usually you got to have a give back story when you're on my show. Like you got to be community service and community minded. So one of the reasons why that Tony wasn't able to commit to me that year, he was building a vehicle to give away at another show. And he didn't realize it was double booked the same date I was doing mine because you were too busy building the vehicle.
Yep.
Tell people about that truck. Or that car, or whatever you call it, because it's a rat rod. It ain't really anything.
It's actually a car we built for it was a build-off contest.
Yeah.
In Chicago, and me and a friend of mine, Mike Abbott, got together. Yeah. And with both of our minds spinning and going every different directions, we came up with some crazy oddball
rat rod.
1926 Model T Corvette rat rod.
That was wild, and it was beautiful. And you guys went up and you gave it away. That was shoot, that might have been a different one I'm thinking.
Yeah, it was. You're thinking about the Rides for Rugrat truck.
That's the one you built.
Yeah, that's the one we built.
You weren't able to help go to my show. You couldn't come to my show that year because you double booked, but that was a huge success.
It was.
Raised a lot of money. Yep. They sold tickets for raffles, much like we're going to do this year for our vehicle we're going to give away.
Actually, just helped them chop a top on another one for one they're going to do this year as well. Cool. So we did that a couple weeks ago up there at Mike's shop. We chopped the top.
What's that program?
So, Ride for Rugrats.
All right, guys, look that up. See if you can support them.
Mississippi. Yeah. Check them out. First weekend of, I think it's actually going to be held at Halloween weekend this year.
Okay.
So that's a show. When I tell you, they help all kind of kids get through trade school. Yeah. And they help pay for all their colleges to get through trade school. Amazing. Yeah, it's a really good program. So y'all check them out. It's a car show every year. It's huge.
Is it a website maybe?
Yeah, they have Facebook, Rides for Rugrats. Okay. Check them out. It's Rides and the number 4 Rugrats.
Okay, cool.
On Facebook.
Yeah,
check it out.
I know that. Man, this support everybody, man. Like our local kids and our programs and our businesses always just remind people just to support them, you know. Like Tony's big like that with me. Like we always see that. Like shop local, spend local. Yeah. Man, I don't care if it costs a little bit more. Go with that guy. You know what I mean? Like, because it's going to somehow get back into our community, you know? And so, in helping each other out a ton, you know. Also, you mentioned that about the car building. We just jumped right to that instead of talking about you went from your Fugitive Recovery Operational Group, Frog, till we went right into like, oh, yeah, you're building cars.
That's my life. Hey, we're right on point.
Right. And there's some other stuff we're going to talk about too. But you have you build rat rods. Yep. And you paint hot rods. And you paint some of the most amazing paint. I've seen a lot of it too, by the way. You're really talented. I know that we were talking about another friend of ours, that Ronnie Giesland, that's going to help us in the future with a job. And you're like, oh, he is amazing. Yeah, but you are too. Don't discount yourself. I've seen some work you do. Yeah. So everybody talks about your good skills on the paint gun.
I appreciate it.
And the body work and stuff. I mean, that's the prep work. That's the real work, right?
That's where all the work's at. Yeah.
And then laying down the paint's essential as well. However, that's another side of your life that you do a lot. And I don't even know where you find time for that.
I barely do, but I make it happen.
You fit it in there. And so if people want to reach out, are you booked up solid right now still?
As far as painting work, we've kind of taken a break as far as the body work side right now. Yeah. Because I've got so much other things going on. So, yeah, pretty much we are booked as of now. We've got a few little projects we're finishing up. We're going to take a break for a couple months. Yeah. But, of course, we'll be back out there.
Sure. Like if there's something special pops up and somebody's like, man, I got this. That's wad of cash.
Yeah, if it's something nice, and that's the thing about me. You know, I don't do any insurance work. I don't do just normal.
Yeah, this is custom stuff.
Everyday cars, right? If somebody comes to me and wants me to paint their 2005 Buick LeSabre, obviously I'm not going to do it. And no offense to nobody, but it's more of a passion of mine, and that's why I paint the hot rods, the antique cars.
Well, I'm definitely going to ask you to help me in the future, and I probably would have this year, but I knew you were you were busy. You had some health stuff going on that you were trying to deal with. And, and then, by the way, to jump to something else real quick, you got this amazing family that you are trying to stay connected with and keep them moving. And they got things they're doing. You got one that's an amazing athlete. We'll talk about him a little bit because he's a great kid and he's really just like this little superstar. He's just starting to develop. You've got a daughter as well that's talented in her own way. And so, and then you got this wonderful, amazing girlfriend that you got in your life, and she's got a child that's a great athlete. Y'all just got this whole thing going on.
And they do. They mix well. You know, her boy and my boy, they're actually playing on the same varsity basketball team and everything together now.
Cool.
So it's
Lake Comrade, Mississippi.
And we won all games today.
Yeah. Y'all actually had a big day today. Yeah. Which, man, look, I ain't gonna lie to you. By the time my kids got to junior high, I was so sick of the ball games, man. Like, it was wearing me out. Like, I just look back on that and like, man, do they ever stop?
And
it
don't.
It don't.
He plays 3 different sports, so it's
and
all
right now,
day,
like
day.
Yesterday, I was talking to you. They had football games and baseball games, or basketball. Yeah. And this should be baseball season right now.
Yeah, we had 2 basketball games yesterday in the morning, and then as soon as we left there, we went and played in the 7v7 tournament in Oxford.
Man, I know. And I know it's just developing their skills, and it's fun and exciting, but he's not old enough to drive.
Nope.
So you're having to take him everywhere.
Everywhere.
And plus, I know you want to be there. I do know that, but it takes up a lot of your time.
It does.
You know?
It does.
Like,
but you know, that's the time I don't have for other things. You know
that's
what
right.
I mean?
Well, you got to make time for that, because I'm gonna tell you right now.
That's the time you can't get back.
You can't get it back. It'll get by you, and you'll be like, "Dang it, boy! I wished I'd have went to them ball games," because he was doing amazing. He is, man. This dude is fast.
He is. Yeah. He's really fast.
And he's growing. He's in the gym working out. I've watched him over the last couple of years really like build his body. I mean, because he's not a huge guy, like we can admit.
Yeah, that's right.
He's going to count on speed and agility and arm talent. I mean, he can catch anything. I've done watching him do that. Like, he is so fast too. Like, he'll make a fool out of you.
He will. He will. A couple of years ago, I've always been able to outrun him.
Yeah.
And then the end of his 7th grade season, he come up to me and he's like, "Dad, it was on my birthday too, so I won't never forget." He's like, "Dad, I think I can outrun you now." Like, I was like, "Caleb, you cannot outrun me."
Yeah.
And of course, he did. He got me.
Yeah.
And I was sick. I was like, "Oh man, he got me." And now, like, I can't even hold a stick to him now. He just runs off from me now.
Well, he's working out. I've seen how he's grown. He's got a great personality. He's very thankful for the support that everybody gives him. He's humble. You know, and that's
he's
what's
a really
important.
good, humble kid.
And Grandpa is probably his biggest fan.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, Rick's always like, if you're posting it, Rick's like my mama before she passed away. She'd repost everything I posted. And I'm just like, Jesus, mama. Like, let me have something. You know?
Dad's right there. I tell you what, I think he's Caleb's biggest fan, you know.
He is. So, he's proud of his grandkids for sure. And he loves them all. But I think it's just the age where Caelan's at. He's just right there at that age where the light's on him. This is his time to shine. Everybody else kind of growed up and moved on. Is he the youngest one?
Yeah, he's my youngest. Yeah.
Well, I know he's your youngest, but as far as the full family.
Yeah, he is, besides my stepdaughter. So.
Yeah. So, and then your older daughter, Alana? Yeah. I knew her from the store for a little bit. She worked up there just for a little bit.
Yeah,
in the
she told me
store.
that.
Yeah. And she's grown, 22, 23 probably now. Got her probably a little family started.
Yeah, she does, and just got out of EMT school. She's a registered EMT now.
Oh, so, congratulations to that. So, but he just happened to be at an age to where, and of course, sports, he's a little bit of a superstar. I mean, people don't realize this, but like in 8th, 9th grade, he's playing varsity ball.
Yep.
Because he's so quick and so agile and so driven to work. And, he's always on these prep zone reports, and that's huge. In Mississippi, there's a lot of talent. Lake Comrade, by the way, people don't know this, is like really a rich resource for football.
It is.
They get a lot of D1 players out there. I mean, we got guys playing all kinds of major colleges. I mean, especially JUCOs. But man, there's some. Nick Saban's been there, like he has. Lane Kiffin goes there. I mean, all the big name schools. It ain't just SEC schools either. They come because there's some serious talent coming out of the Delta. And of course Horn Lake. We know the Nakobe Deans of the world and things like that. But there's that same rich talent that's coming out of the same community, because Horn Lake, Lake Comrade, South Haven, we're all one big town. Yep. It's just DeSoto County is one big town. It really is. I mean, you don't know when you're leaving one or the other most of the time, so we all come from the same community. And, but Kalen is shining in a big pool. He really is. So he's going to be going into 10th grade.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's got 3 more years of showing out time, so.
And they think he's going to have a breakout year this year.
I think so,
too. I think
too.
the coaches, I spoke with a lot of his coaches, and they've all told me this year that they're going to try to find any way they can to put the ball in his hand.
Do they call him Little Frog?
No, they call him Sunshine.
Sunshine.
Because of all that long hair.
Yeah, it's long hair. Yeah, he does like the hair. Yeah, but look, man, that may be a strength, Tony. Who knows? Don't. Next thing you know, it'll be like, it's too hot, I'm going to buzz it. And he'll come out with a buzz cut or something like that.
He talked about it a couple weeks ago, but he's like, nah, I can't
do
it
yet.
I can't do it
yet. Can't do it yet. So, well, I mean, if it gets hot enough, he'll pull it.
So, he will in a heartbeat.
Yeah. And look, man, everybody I know, and probably you too, at some point in our life, we grew our hair kind of long. You know what I mean? Like, we let it get out there. I think it's just that age group right now. They just, if they can, they do. And I probably would too if I could now. Shoot, my stuff's disappearing so fast.
Man, me too. I wish I could grow hair.
Oh my gosh, man, it's falling off faster. I wake up every morning, I'm like, I don't know if I'm the same guy in the mirror, you know. So, but anyway, besides the family stuff, we know that's essential to you. They're amazing. You got a good support group. Obviously, with your schedule, like, they have to be good. You need your dad in your life, especially when those guys were young. Like, I know he's cooking from every time I look at Rick's page on Facebook.
He loves to cook.
He's a cooker, man.
He's always
and he's like, I cook my boys. I know he's talking about when he's talking about who he cooked for.
He loves it.
Yeah. So that support's there. And of course, the other thing most recently, which you have gotten me a little bit of an addiction to, is the coins, man. What the hell? Tell me about the coins. How'd you get involved with this?
What's crazy is that I've always collected coins. I mean, since I probably 8, 9 years old, I've been infatuated with coins. I don't know why. Yeah. Never really,
shiny coins.
Yeah, just any of them. Any old coins or whatever. So the last couple of years, I guess about 2.5, 3 years ago, I started just really picking and really looking and getting my collection picked up, and over the last 6 months, I've accumulated way more coins than what I could ever think of.
You overbought. Yeah.
So I ended up having a whole lot more coins than what I wanted, and I wanted my collection to be big, something I could pass down to my kids one day. Yeah. And it just kind of blew up from there. And once I started realizing what I had, I was like, man, I need to get rid of some of this stuff. I can't keep up with all this stuff. So
well, you're buying probably in bulk sometimes.
And
too.
We do. We buy a lot. And so we decided that we would, run an auction on whatnot, and with that's been really successful.
Yeah, thanks to Neil.
Yeah, Neil's been a big part of it every time. I tell you. So
I'm like, I'm not going on his whatnot tonight. I'm like, I got to pay my light bill.
He'll spend a light bill on there for sure.
Oh my goodness! So
it don't take long, and I'm bad about it myself too. I'm in other people's game, and it's a game. Just
it really
to fill you guys in, what it is that you go in there and you win. You can spin the wheel to win coins, which is really nice coins in a jail cell. Of course, we're bounty hunters, so we have 4 jail cells set up. We have a wheel you spin. You're able to win a key to unlock the jail cells to win really nice coins. And in the process of doing that, we've got several chase coins on the floor that you can actually get as well, just spinning, trying to get your good coins. So
I think I got a dump truck load.
I know you do. When we unload it, man, we might as well get back there with a crane.
I was after those keys, man.
And you did successful. You got them. I got
me some keys, and I was like, oh, man, that's a 1921.
Yes.
Whatever the hell it is. Golden Eagle or Silver Eagle. I don't know.
Morgans and everything.
I don't even know what the hell I'm getting, but I know that it looks fun and cool, and you're telling me they're worth some money, so I'm good with that.
Man, I tell you, you've got a good, nice collection. When you pull them all out and you separate them all, you're going to realize what you got.
It's so addictive, man. Like, it's like playing slot machines.
It is, but the one thing about it with ours, you can't lose.
No.
You might lose a little something every now and then, but you're going to get something, and you're going to get something good almost every time. A lot of shows they're giving. If you get on other people's shows and you hit, and they give you a crusty little wheat penny that's been there, and they're like, "Hey, thanks for showing up. Here you go." And it just, me playing the games as well, because I got on there, and that's why I got me addicted. But I was playing it on myself and getting a lot of coins, and of course, I was like, I could really be, getting a lot more coins this way, So I started buying them and getting them, and next thing you know, I got a truckload of coins too, but then you get one that's one little crusty coin, and you're like, man, you just spent $13. This dude just gave you a wheat penny, and I'm like, man, so
you don't do that to me.
No, so when I started doing the shows, I was like, man, I can't do that. I want to at least give people, good uncirculated coins, so I've literally went out and searched and found nothing but uncirculated coins, and it's what I like to give.
So, I think it works out good. You're getting something back for your money. I mean, it's entertainment.
You definitely can't lose.
It's fun. you get some. I mean, sometimes you hit the jackpot, bro. Like some of them coins. Like I think the other day I won a Morgan for a $5 spin.
Yeah.
I bid. I won the spin.
Did.
Nobody was paying attention. I don't know what they was doing.
Yeah.
But the bid started out like $5. I got it. I got the key, and then it opened the gate to a Morgan, a 1921 silver.
That's a $45, $55 piece right there.
For $5.
Yeah.
You know, like so it works out.
Yeah,
you know
it makes you feel the 4 or 5 that I didn't get. There's the
well, and you
there.
always add something in too. Like so, like if I do win like an uncirculated 20-25 penny, which by the way, folks, those are not being made anymore. I know there's jillions of them, but people will hoard them and makes them more valuable.
There's actually not a whole lot of the 25s out.
Well,
that's the beauty of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still, it's the last year.
It is.
And because they're doing away with pennies, and these are uncirculated pennies.
Next month, last time they're going to make them.
And so he ain't just giving you that, which it's already valued. What'd you tell me they were selling for $19 to $30?
Yeah, all day long if you check them out on eBay.
Yeah, for 1 penny.
Yeah.
And because they're going to be pretty hard to get.
People are getting them graded already.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so I got probably a whole roll of them now. But now with that though, you have you always give me something extra, you know, and maybe 2 or 3 things because I'm in there. And I know it's like part of it is you're trying to get rid of some of this overstock you got. And especially for somebody that's spending money in your system and trying to build up the game, getting people invited. But when they go on to WhatsApp, what do they look for? Yeah,
they look for Frog Bounty. And it's called, man, you kind of
caught you off guard.
Yeah, you did. I'm sorry.
Well, anyway.
You look up Frog Bounty, but the name of if you find our show, it's going to be under Frog Bounty.
Yeah.
But the name of our show is Coin and Capture. But if you try to search Coin and Capture, it's not going to come up. You're going to have to type in Frog Bounty.
Frog Bounty.
Yep. If you type in Frog Bounty on whatnot, you'll find us.
Yeah. So
we got a show coming up on the 24th as well.
Oh, yeah.
2 days.
Yeah, you do them like Monday, Tuesdays?
Yeah,
Sunday,
I don't really have a set day on them, and we usually only run like one a week, but we've had so many requests from everybody, so we've been
I'm going to tell you something, Tony. I'm not coming on the next fucking show. You know what happened? I had to pay $5,000 a day for a grinder pump at my house. So,
oh man.
So, Patrick at Stewart Plumbing on West Memphis, I mean, he did a great job for sure, but dude, that's a huge cost. Like, yeah. I mean, this happened like 2 days ago, and I'm just like, huh?
Oh man.
Yeah. So I am not going to be on your show for a hot minute. I may have to sell your pennies back to you.
Bring them on.
I'm like, can you buy this kit back? Yeah. But yeah. So you got a lot of stuff going on. What else we're not talking about? We talked about the shows. Obviously, your business. You do PI work.
Yep.
You do. By the way, that's what I tell people. Private investigation. You do that as well.
Yep. We do a lot of private investigation. A lot of infidelity cases. We also do a lot of VIP protection. We're all licensed bodyguards as well.
Yeah.
Everybody on my team, we're all licensed bodyguards. So we do a lot of VIP protection work as well, and PI cases, anything you need PI work.
Yeah, whether it be a wreck investigation or insurance fraud or whatever.
Or your wife or husband's cheating.
Lordy.
You want us to get the drama? We're gonna get over there and get the drama.
God. Jesus, dude.
Yeah.
That's drama.
Yeah, it's big drama. I mean, we get to see all the dirt on all the people around here, man. People that's doing this and doing what they're not supposed to be doing. So
I don't even want to know. Like I just like, you know, like, because it's just like, man, really? You know, like at the end of the day, you're like, dang. So, but you do that. You hunt down fugitives. Sometimes it's just like you want to locate somebody. You know what I mean? Like, not necessarily like in a weird way, like you just can't find them yourself, you know? So like Tony and Frog might be able to do that. Like maybe it's a family member. It's kind of like checked out on you or something, you know?
And we've done that a lot. There's been several cases that we've had people come to us and say, hey, you know, I've got a lost father out there somewhere and we're trying to locate them. And that's what we do. We'll find them if they've got some type of name or social security number or anything and they want us to try to track this person down.
Yeah, you figured out the path to it. When do you think you started doing I know you started out. Tell us how you started, by the way. That's an interesting backstory. I want to say, like.
Do you want to know?
Tony, what are you, about 38?
I'm 42.
42.
Yeah,
all right.
42.
So you're 10 years younger than me. Where does your life start at 18? What were you doing? Because I know you were racing motorcycles and all kinds of wild shit through the days.
I was, man, and I tell you, I was on a path of destruction at 18 years old.
Were you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I always was getting in trouble, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I was always getting in trouble. Nothing crazy, but I was always in trouble for racing, you know.
High energy.
Yeah, just all kind of stuff, you know, stupid stuff, being a kid, being young, you know, up and down the road. And believe it or not, that's how I got in good with the bail bond people.
Okay. They were looking for you.
They were just bounding me out all the time. as a youngster.
So you were a jailbird yourself.
Yeah. So, and I think that's what helped me out in the streets, growing up.
Yeah.
I grew up in the streets. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people think that I grew up with a silver spoon in my mouth, and I did not.
No, and by the way, Dad worked for police department at first, and it got to the casinos, and I think Rick probably spent 25, 30 years at the casinos.
Yeah, I think he was there for 21 years.
Yeah. And that's not like a get-rich-quick scheme. You know what I mean? Like, it's a good living, but it's not just overnight success. We're raising our kids with silver spoons, Yep. So, but anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, we had we was always in and out of trouble, so I ended up becoming really good friends with the bondsmans. At 16 years old, I was working for a computer company, rebuilding and programming computers at 16 years old. And so with that being said as well, I got a job in the bonding company office, taking care of all their computers and everything at 18, and just got to be real good friends with them. And believe it or not, like over all the years that went by, even when I didn't do bail bonds and everything else, over all the years that's went by, I actually am employed by that same person right now.
Al Williams.
No, which is Manual Bail Bond.
Manual Bail Bond.
I work for Al Williams too as a recovery agent.
Okay.
But I write bonds through Manual Bail Bond, which is Kurt Manual.
Okay.
And they've owned Manual Bail Bonds for years over in Helena, Arkansas.
Okay.
And they moved over here, I guess, 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
And then he called me and said, "Hey man, you want I would really like for you, if you want to write bonds for me and run my company over here,
that'd be great." So you're representing your own with Manual, and then you still do fugitive recovery work for Al.
Yep. I actually work for almost 75% of the companies down here.
Right. I mean, they don't care. And they just hire you to go get them.
They want me to get their people. And so with Frog, that's what we do. We do the recovery end with Frog. And then I actually write bonds and bail people out through Manual Bail Bonds.
Yeah.
They only let us be licensed for one company as far as writing bonds, but we have to be licensed through every company that we hunt for. Sure.
And one of the things I want to mention real quick is like, as we're talking about that, Fugitive Recovery Op Group at gmail.com is the email you can reach them at. If you want to be anonymous on your first contact and just be like, how do I get a hold of this? My husband or my wife's doing this, or, my son's in trouble, whatever, like, by the way, it ain't always bad things. I know they bust them out on Facebook and make fools of them a little bit, but they're out there talking shit to you on Facebook. Are they not?
Yeah, they do.
They're like, you can't catch me, Frog.
They'll get on there and talk, and they're like, hey, you can't catch me. You're too slow. You missed, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, we usually get the last
you always get them. So
it motivates me.
So your phone number is 901-900-6805.
Yep.
And that is for any of the stuff you do.
Yeah, like anything you need us to reach at, dude, call that number.
Right. It's Tony Yeager, Frog, FROG, which stands for Fugitive Recovery Operations Group. And they're pretty popular around DeSoto County. I mean, you got a big following. I know that. Not even beyond here, because obviously you were on the Street Outlaws back in the day, which probably got your connection with the TV stuff. And then when they found out you were doing bail work, they probably were like, hey, that's a whole nother kind of show. You live in Memphis?
Yeah. And believe it or not, it was two different producers.
Yeah.
But they actually knew each other. And when they contacted me about doing the bail jumper shows, I almost didn't do it because it was kind of not really what we wanted. Mm-hmm. But I told myself, hey, you got to get your foot in the door somewhere.
Sure.
And so now, we got the show Bail Jumpers, and it aired back in 2024.
I like it. Yeah.
And they're wanting us to do a season 2. And I've kind of put a halt to season 2 until they pull the ropes off of me and let me do my own thing. I think they know that now, and I think that's why things have been kind of delayed. So.
Well, I think that too, like, you're well-rounded. Like, man, it'd make a great show to see how you flip-flop around all day, like between the bail bondsman stuff, like a whole story of the Frog.
Yeah.
You know what I
mean? Yeah, and that would be great. That's kind of what we was hoping for.
Yeah.
But we wanted to get our foot in the door somewhere, and I actually did get a call from them a couple weeks ago. Can't really go into details about it, but they are wanting us to do a season 2.
Good.
So hopefully we can come up with an agreement on how we want to do it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. You come back.
I personally want to change it up a little bit. It's not my say so, but how we want to do things, it wants to be a little different. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess it's working with them. I mean, the show was successful enough. They're wanting to do season 2. So, I mean, they rerun it. So that tells you it's doing good. I mean, there's some shows that never reappear again.
That's right. Yeah. Well, they called me and they was like, when we talked about it and they come down, they was like, man, if you could just get 2 or 3 people while we're there in the 10 days that we film, they come down and stay with me 10 days at a time and film. And they're like, hey, if you can get 2 or 3 people, that'd be great for us.
Yeah.
And I was like, in 10 days? They was like, yeah. I said, okay. So we caught 10 people for them in 10 days.
Oh, yeah. They underestimated frog.
Yeah, they was like, there's no way you're catching this many people.
Your partner you were using in that show, give him a shout out.
Harvey, Cordero Flowers. He actually was running for alderman down in Batesville.
Yeah.
Not long ago. Really great guy. I tell you what, man, I couldn't ask for a better guy. Harvey's probably one of the best guys I know.
Yeah.
A really good friend of mine. He's been around me and working with us. He's more of a part-time guy with us because he's a full-time firefighter out of West Memphis.
Mm-hmm. And he looks like it.
Yeah, he is.
He's fit.
He's a really good guy and real sharp, and he's been a good asset to us. Not only that, but we have a registered EMT on our team. If something happens to one of us, we got somebody right there that could help us,
Absolutely.
So, and he's a really good guy, and hopefully he'll be back on season 2 when we do it.
Well, it's a good, I think if you got 2 guys identical on there, it's not going to work good. Y'all both have different perspectives. You get along well. You're 2 complete different types of styles.
Yep.
All that stuff, to where, it's something for everybody. So, and it shows, I like the local part of it because, I know all these places y'all are going, and then some of us in Memphis, I'm just like, dang boy, they really stepping out there today.
It is.
But you're doing that every day. People don't realize that you're really, really in the streets out there.
We go to the worst of the worst every day. When we go out, people think that, we're just going down the interstate. We're going to pull off the interstate and get somebody to know. When we go to Memphis, we go to the worst of the worst. When I tell you,
you're in Binghamton, you're everywhere.
You got these days, you got 13, 14-year-old kids out in the yard with AK-47s. God, it's not TV. Man. It's real.
Man, Jesus. And it's a real deal up there. Like, folks, this ain't just in Memphis. It's Birmingham, it's Atlanta, but Memphis may be one of the worst. Jackson, we hear it a lot around here because we live here, but on a national level, Jackson, Mississippi, and Memphis is maybe 2 of the most problematic gun areas there is. And
I agree.
And so, I don't know how you fix that. I have no clue. What would be your opinion on that?
You would have to start with the upper as far as the judges.
Yeah, put them away.
The laws. Yeah. You got to change some laws. You got to be able to let the police over there police.
That's one thing.
Look at DeSoto County.
They let them police.
Yeah, you don't have them issues over here.
No, you don't.
Sheriff Tuggle is not going to let that happen.
And guess what? You know what? Everybody can tote a gun in DeSoto County.
Yeah.
So that's part of the limits, and he wants you to continue to have that right. But our 99% of the population or more is just wearing it to protect themselves and others. And there's that small group that use it as a tool to invade your personal space and privacy and take your things. And so that's not something he's going to allow. And I wish that, and I know there's liabilities in a big city. I get that. But man, I promise you, and they finally went up. Tennessee got that law, but it didn't work well in Tennessee and Memphis because their citizens as a whole are not thinking about, I need to get my gun, take it with me on my way to the grocery store. Down here, it was more of a rural area. So, and I'm sure other parts of Tennessee, it works really well. But Memphis, not so much because, to them, for whatever reason, a person living in the inner city of Memphis, they may not be able to afford a nice weapon and maintain it and keep it going a lot. But then the criminals are always going to find it because they're stealing it out of a car. And so
they don't abide by gun signs or none of
that stuff, any of that stuff. Down here, typically, if you were I can almost argue this. I even told Sheriff Tuggle this when I had him on the show. It's like, chances are if you go in a place and pull a pistol, there's going to be 6 at you before you leave the place because all the citizens. The citizens have the weapons.
That's right.
So, and he said he wants that. He said, I'm all about that. And as long as you're a contributing member of society and not trying to cause problems, I don't think it's an issue.
That's right.
So you wear yours. I know at times. I know you can't just bounty hunt with them all the time. I know that's a different thing, right?
No, we do. We do.
Okay. So you're armed.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, not just fake stuff. You got the real stuff. Yeah.
No paintball guns.
No paintball guns. Yeah. Although they might be pepper. They might be pepper spray.
Well, we got a couple pepper ball guns.
I think that'd be. We
usually use the taser if we can.
Shit, knock them down, son. Yeah, I'd like to watch those people getting tased. I don't personally want to get tased, but those videos when they lock up.
Yeah.
Have you seen that happen?
Oh yeah, I've done it. What do you mean? I've done it. Well, can't count how many people that crappie flopping on the floor.
Oh my God, has it ever happened to you? Have you ever been tased?
Believe it or not, as I was tasing somebody, I've got my hands across the taser wires, and it got me too. So
oh my God,
it happens sometimes. And of course, when you're fighting with somebody and the taser's going off, you grab
both
them.
Of you are getting
you grab them. We're both hitting the ground at that point. So
that's hilarious. Anything you want to talk about today? Like, look, we've covered all your we pushed all your stuff. We promoted your stuff. And I told you we'd have fun. We'd just talk about whatever you want to talk about. Is there anything on your mind today you want to talk about?
I mean, not like nothing in stone, but
but just like in general, like about what's going on in the world. Like what's up is really pissing you off right now, Tony?
No, do we don't want to talk about the basketball game? So the basketball. Yeah. So some of the police, man, in Horn Lake. I mean, it's I love the police. I love what they do. I'm all about behind Leo. My grandfather was a sheriff for
and your dad
25 years. My dad was a cop for 15 years. And
you're a big supporter.
I love the police. Yes. Don't get me wrong, but when you got a bad apple in those departments, man, it can really make it bad on everybody.
Yeah.
And like today, we had a situation at the school in the basketball game. Kid gets sucker punched in the middle of the game. And
your kid.
Yeah. And the police don't do nothing about it. They say they can't find the video, which they didn't even try to look for the video, and it just, do your job.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, part of them doing their job will keep that element out of our community.
Exactly.
Because if you allow that, because those kids, by the way, were not from our county. Nope. They were from the county north of us. It's problematic. And they're probably not a lot of oversight up there, so they thought they'd come down here and teach somebody a lesson. Well, it didn't work.
No, they was mad because we was beating them 44-15.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
So then they started getting aggressive and wanting to start punching. So.
Yeah, people, that's part of sports. You got to learn to lose with grace. That's something that was not taught. That's a father thing. By the way, mothers can do it, but dads typically teach humility and like, hey man, you got to win and lose with the same passion. Yep. So, be humble, either way. Thank them, tell them they did a good job, and plan on how to beat them next time. You can't just get mad and outright. So that's the element we're trying to keep out of the community. And if you had a good coach, and I'm not saying the coach was bad, but he should have had control over his kids. You know what I mean? And obviously,
bad thing about it was the coach was actually egging them on to do it.
Really?
That's what got us. God. I'm like, I think that's what set me off.
Well, that started like probably 20 years ago, bro. He didn't have it either. You know what I mean? So
that's what really set me off too, because one thing about my kid, he's a really good kid, never gets in trouble, never starts nothing with nobody. All he cares about and sleeps, dreams, eats sports. That's it. Yeah. That's all he wants. He's never up, trying to fight.
And what Rick's going to cook him for dinner.
Yeah. That's for sure.
Kayla, I feel you, man. I see that stuff. Your papa can cook.
And then, so, of course, as a father, when you see a kid that's 3 foot taller than your son, it looks like he's 21, 22 years old out there, and sucker punched him in the head. So as a father, you know what I did.
Did it hurt him?
No, I mean, you can't hurt that kid. It didn't hurt him. He was just, I think it more or less kind of
scared him.
But I don't even know if it scared. I think it just shocked him because he didn't expect to get sucker punched. And then,
that's probably the gamemanship, sportsmanship is really important.
Yeah. And so like I told him, he just, he was calm about it. He walked off and he just kind of threw his hands up like, what the heck? They ejected the kid out the game and they put him out and they shut the game off. It was done at that point. We was beating them so bad, there wasn't no point in us playing.
But it's an element that if we aren't careful, if we can't count on law enforcement to back us up,
it's going to keep coming back.
It's going to keep coming back.
And that's what we was to the beginning of what we was talking about. They could have easily went back in there and pulled the right video that we explained to Sydney, which is the cop.
Yeah.
And we told her, it's like, you asked the wrong person. That dude's not even with our team. If you ask our team manager, you'll get the video. But they didn't even want to go back in there and get the video.
Because it might have been some paperwork.
Exactly. That's exactly what
I don't know the person, man, but I know, the struggles. I know you're a big, staunch supporter of all law enforcement. But when you see a problem, you call it out. And, you call it out loud. I know that. And you're not ashamed of that.
I do.
We had an issue at our jail, and I've been watching that a little bit. Yeah. And it's really just, again, it's work. They don't want to work. They want to make your life difficult because they got a power position that they can control you a little bit. And they know that you're highly successful. They depend on y'all, by the way. A lot of people don't know this. Like, I think that a lot of law enforcement, they appreciate the fact y'all want to go out there because y'all aren't restrained by shift work and things like that to where I get off at 12, I ain't got time to shoot. Y'all go find it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And we work really well with a lot of the fugitive guys, with the sheriff's departments here and in Shelby County.
Yeah.
And I always will. Anytime they need something, I'm more than willing to jump up and help them,
Yeah.
Same with me. I can call them guys, and boom,
But I think the support, you always got an apple. If they get in charge, you know what I mean? Yep. And they got a little power. It could be the lady at the grocery store, man, and she just like, nah, we're not opening up that line. It's just a power play is all it is. And I think that's what happened to you at the jail. That's probably going to get straightened out. And I think if enough tension gets put to it.
They've got some good people down there. They've got Starnes down there, and he's really doing a good job. I will give it to him. He tries to, he pretty much mediates me in the jail. So
he just kind of like, all right,
he's kind of the referee between me and that.
We got to take this guy's stuff when he brings it. Like you can't just ban him from here.
And he's been really good to me, and we've trying to get past everything. But a lot's happened between me and the department down there. Yeah. And
there's some history there.
It is. There's a lot of history, and a lot of people think that I just hate them all the way around, and that's not the case with me. I really think a lot about our department here. DeSoto County Sheriff, all of them. I don't know Tuggle that well, but I will say I do support them all. Some of the things they do, I don't support. A lot of the other.
Well, nothing's 100%.
Yeah,
right.
And so with that being said, I fully support Leo. I know that when we have an issue, I know that we call them and they're going to come.
Yeah, we talked about that. Like you do not want to defund the police people when you start talking about that crap. No. Like who's coming to help you? Like. If you're out there on the side of the road and somebody's assaulting you, the only thing you can count on is potentially a peace officer showing up in the next 2 minutes to help you save your life, and so stop with that crap. Like you can't defend yourself.
That's right.
Like it's you're in a society where the criminals are always going to have the advantage if we don't have law enforcement.
But I think that people kind of get that perspective of me because I'm so quick to blast them online.
Social media. Well, you have a platform. And most people don't have.
A lot of people follow us.
Yeah, that's right.
I speak my mind on there, and I think that's why you either love me or you hate me.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you how I feel.
I kind of grin, and I'm like this, like I'm using my shows pretty buttoned up here. Most of it's all charity, community service stuff, and so we don't get a lot. And I told you today, when you come in, we talk about it whatever you want to. We say whatever you want to. I mean, you can cuss. I mean, I drop F-bombs every day. I don't use it on the show, but today I am because I want to be loose and fun, but I think you have a huge platform and lots of people love it because it is out there and it's honest. You're not pretending to be something. Y'all are really doing that work.
That's
it's
right.
Not a TV show. It's actually work. You just decide sometimes to film it. For a long time, you didn't.
Yeah.
You went off air for a while.
I did. And I think that had a lot to do with my mental state behind everything, that I went through. And a lot of people don't know what I went through back in 2020, but I did go through a few things that I probably shouldn't have had to go through. But
again, we make choices in life that we got to learn from. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, did you learn?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all that matters.
I learned a lot, to believe it or not, but the bad thing about it is I should have never had to even go through it.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
It
wasn't my fault. And I think that's why I've got such a sour taste for the department here.
Yeah, they did
people,
try to.
Yeah, people wonder why, but like I said, it's not the whole department. It
was just individuals.
It was the individuals and the upper hand that was there that had that could have stopped it and didn't.
You know what I mean? Control. Yeah,
and they let it go as far.
Are most
as
of them gone now?
There's still a few there.
There's still a few there.
Yeah, we're working on them, so don't worry.
Okay, I got you.
We're working on that.
We don't want to talk about the whole history. I think the majority of your followers know that story.
They know.
And they still supported you. And we make choices in life that are not always on the up and up. And some things happen in life, like this shit happens. But, to try to do what they were trying to do to you was pretty crazy.
Yeah,
it was. But I've also seen them indict folks for some stuff. I'm like, are you sure? Like you arrested that person for shooting them with a water gun? Like, like a water pistol of all things. So that to me, that's the stuff where I question, the decision making and I little think, stuff.
I think now though that they've actually got a really good DA in place, I think all that's going to go away.
I think so too.
There was a case not long ago that I was keeping up with where I'll say it like this because I don't want to name nobody, obviously.
Yeah.
It was a school official.
Yeah.
That got charged for fondling.
Oh wow, yeah.
And
that's a blood boiling subject for me.
I knew in my heart right off the bat the guy wasn't guilty.
Right.
I was like, there's no way. I know this guy. There's no way this has happened. You know what I'm saying? With this DA, the guy was able to get it taken care of within a month, and it was thrown away because he knew it wasn't true.
Right. Instead of trying to use the publicity.
If this would have been the old DA and the old administration, that guy would have been put through the ringer for 2 years and lost everything he had. And lost his job at the school.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I think it was a pay-to-play game back then.
And it's one of them things that's when I knew right then that the DA was doing their job here, and they're not just trying to prosecute people for anything.
Yeah.
Because I've seen the old administration, people go in there that's not guilty, and they're trying to throw the book at them for 10, 15 years, you know, and they know that they're not guilty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yet they want to see them numbers. They want to fill the jails
up. Yeah, right. And then I think with DAs sometimes because of the position, it's success, prosecution numbers, and stuff. And that's a double-edged sword. But this guy, I don't think that way. I've watched him. He's a different cat. I'm a big fan of his, by the way. And I start watching him from just like you, and I start seeing like, well, that makes sense. Like, he's talking publicly too about these things. Yeah. He's not behind. He's not hiding behind
he's
nothing.
Not hiding behind nobody.
And he tells you,
he's out eating at Waffle House every day.
Yeah, and I love the fact that he's like talking about, I'm gonna get him a new permanent residence in Parchman. We need that, man.
Yes, exactly what Memphis needs.
Yeah, Memphis needs him.
Yeah. If he was over in Memphis, they would stop all this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like it. I like Tuggle's perspective on it. I think they work really well together. We know Tuggle's not like just in the deep dives of law enforcement. Like, he's not out there carrying, arresting people every day himself personally.
He's definitely better than the old administration.
Absolutely.
I can promise you that.
And coming from where he comes from, he comes from a different world than the other administration. He's seen every agency in this whole community. He trained most of them, from statewide. Yeah, the police academy. And he's a very structured, homegrown guy here that sees things in a different perspective. And he's all about the kids. That's what I love. We start with them. We don't have problems 20 years from now. So that's what I love about him. And I think the DA just knows that we got to be a little tougher on crime. Not so much on the bullcrap stuff that before, you get it pulled over with a pack of rolling papers and they're trying to put you away for 10 years or something. I'm not saying it's that extreme, but I'm just saying
it's that extreme.
They wasted time. They waste time with that stuff, and I don't see him doing that as much. Like, I've seen people that ruin them over just like, you have a pack of zigzags in the tray. We got no other stuff, just the zigzags. And it's a paraphernalia charge and you get your picture in the DeSoto County jail,
Just busted.
Yeah. And I'm just like, man, that's just, I think I just laugh. I mean, some guy the other day you posted that had the double fingers up on him. Who was that?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I can't believe they let him do that.
Yeah, there was somebody, and I think you notice they changed it real quick after I posted it. It was probably 2 minutes they didn't have him in the motion.
They follow your page, sir. I'm just telling you right now.
Oh, they do. The minute I post something, they know.
Oh, man,
it gets back to me within minutes.
Oh, I know, man, and I love that because you've created a place to where part of the problems with
transparency.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I have a big problem with, and I know they have to a point. Like with some cases, they have to be kind of like because it's ongoing, and if they let out too much information, but man, come on now, like when we get to a certain point, you need to tell the public.
Yeah, especially the escape convict we had.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everything was hid. Yeah, I mean, the bad thing about it was, I'm not going to go into details, but they was even hiding things from the DA.
Yeah. Like he didn't know. He got mad when he found out too.
Why hide things from the DA? Why hide things from the public?
Yeah.
You tell us all this and wait hours to let the public know this man's, done got out of here. That leaves a bad taste.
I'm going to be honest with you. One of my biggest pet peeves, Tony, and you can say if you agree with this or not, but scanners. Okay, like look, I know why you say you don't want them because you don't want the criminals listening. But if they're so busy doing criminal shit, they ain't on a scanner trying to listen to where the PD is. Like. That's a bullshit thing just to where you don't have to be as transparent. I grew up in areas like this is maybe one of the only places I've ever seen that there's as many people as there are here. There's no scanners.
No, they're all on encrypted radios.
Yeah. But that's bullshit to me. Like
it is.
I don't like that.
They don't like.
There's one thing to kick back. I want to know. Yep. And like right now, you got everybody. Facebook. If we didn't have Facebook, we didn't know what the fuck's going on in this county. I'm telling you. And that's why I love this show. And I'm saying some shit today I don't normally say. If you ever watch my show, I'm calling some shit out. So that is a problem I have. You can go north of here, and Memphis, they are trying to tell you, look, they have never had scanners here as far as I know. It's all encrypted, and every one of them. And I like you, Sheriff Tuggle, but I don't like that answer about that. Like, that's just my opinion. I think you need to have it open to the public. You know what I mean? Like, because if there's somebody loose in this neighborhood, we need to know.
We need to know immediately.
Yeah, immediately. And nowadays, you can get it on your phone. Maybe they buy the app, charge people for it so they can hear it. I don't care. But
anything.
But whatever, monetize it, whatever you got to do. But let people know because, as the town grows, or as the county grows, we get more little problems, and just like today. That little dude you're talking about at the high school, that would have been a call. That would have been on a scanner.
Yeah.
You'd have had interest from the other people. She might have had to do a better job because of the fact more people knew about it than what she thought. And she didn't know she was fooling.
They're going to know about it.
Oh, yeah. She didn't know she was fooling with frogs. She's going to be blasted out tonight.
She's already been on. She's on. Look at my Facebook now.
I hadn't even looked, man.
I got a good one already on there.
Oh, my God. So she's going to be like, please take that down, man.
She's already going to be mad at me.
Yeah. But, that's the thing about when people have platforms. I pay to have this platform.
That's right.
All right. Out of my pocket every month because I want to shine light on amazing community service that people are doing and great programs. Like I had the Dream Center on right before you were on today. We did a show. That's an essential program that we have in our community. But I choose that platform. You can all have this. Just go out and make an effort. I'm not trying to be a popular guy, but I am trying to make things more popular as our community. That's why it's called the Local Yokel Show.
That's
what I mean? Podcast is just for that reason, so we can bring more attention to more local things. Now, that is one pet peeve I have. Another one is these unchecked, I don't know how we do it, but these damn pedophiles.
Seems like we got a lot of them in our school district.
Man, and I know it's hard to vet that because it
is.
I think we're catching them more is what it is.
Yeah.
I think we've always had a bunch of them.
Oh yeah.
I think it's just our law enforcement are better at finding them because the electronic stuff now
can't do nothing on your phone.
No.
If you do something on your phone, it's there.
Your family might be able to see it, but Leo can find it. You know what I mean? They got ways to go into the system,
That's
right. So, we had a guy down at Walls a few years ago. He was like 60 when they bust him out, and he didn't like him at the elementary age. He liked him at that next age. And so he'd groom them at the elementary age and get trust with them. And then by the time they got to junior high, that's when he started being interested in them, having, working them into his system, making contact. Well, finally, man, it blew up. Everybody started contacting. One came out and 20 showed up, Wow. This dude didn't even have a bail. You know what I mean? So it's bad when they wouldn't even give him a bail,
No doubt.
And then, he pleaded out and, spent 5-6 years in prison and got out. That's bullshit.
Yep.
All right. So my argument is he didn't wake up at 60 and decide that he's going to like young boys or whatever.
Nope.
And he's not going to be cured or rehabilitated, period, much less in a 5-year span. So he's released. So, I got so many questions of whys and whys and whys, Why'd you let him negotiate out on a term to where he just admitted guilt and didn't have to go to court? Shit, man. Just put him away.
Yep. This dude's going to be back out here again.
Washington State, I don't know if you know this, Tony. Washington State has a pedophile island. Have you ever seen that?
No.
So they had an old World War II base right off the coast of Seattle or somewhere like that. And they had such a problem with pedophilia. And so the courts would only punish them for so long. Like they go in and they'd sentence them 5, 10, 15 years or whatever. And when they got out, somebody at the state level said, hey, we got this great facility over here. We'll just take them over to the island for indefinite mental evaluation. And so when they leave there, they can't leave until, I only think 1 or 2 people's ever left. That thing's been there for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so 60 Minutes or HBO or somebody did a special many, many years ago about it, talking about, and some of them's like, yeah, man, if you let me off here, the first thing I'm going to do is go find the victim, because that's just who I am. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm attracted to. It's not, it just blows my mind that we got these folks, and I'm not talking about questionable cases of did they, if you got them dead to rights, there's every act, typically 2, and I don't know if you would say on this, read up on it. I'm no professional in any of this stuff, just personal opinions here. Typically they start out that way and then they become child murderers because they don't want to get caught again, and then they wound up, that's how we lose our children because they get rid of the evidence. How'd they get caught? They got told on, So that's just, man, how do you stop all that, Tony? I don't know.
You can't.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's a mental issue.
It is. Yeah, mental health.
It's definitely a mental issue. I mean, for any kind of grown person trying to mess, with a kid, that's.
Yeah. Let's start a new one. Frog's next business we're going to be tracking down.
David actually wants to do that. So.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Let's do it, man.
He wants to track
I'm all
down
behind
fugitives.
it. We'll shoot, man. We'll run it on this thing.
And we will, we will. And we worked with the feds before a lot back in, 2018 and 2017, 19, and we've done a lot of help with those guys on, helping the sex trafficking women,
It's crazy, man. That's another thing. I tell people all the time, I say this on every show, I'm 52. It's in the last few years, I'm waking up like a newborn baby. My eyes are being open about all these things that are, I'm like, where was I? I was focused on living, raising kids.
I mean, it was there. We just didn't have the social media that we have now.
Yeah.
We have the social media that's actually putting it out there for everybody
That's
to
what
see.
Tuggle said. There's it's more, we're seeing more of it. We got quicker way to catch them and find them. And,
you're seeing a lot more.
But now we just need to get the laws to punish them harder, and quit wasting time on the bullshit marijuana
we got
charges.
the right one here.
Yeah. Quit wasting time on the bullshit use charges and filling the jails up with that, and let's put them away and keep them away. Yep. And I'm all for like some of my tax dollars going to building something off the coast of Mississippi. Let's just get an island down there and send them to it. When you got them dead to rights and they're the worst of the worst,
that's where they need to be.
Rapists, woman beaters, that's another one. Like let's just put them in there all together. Like we'll just keep them all in there and just let them have fun, and throw away the key. I mean, maybe that's extreme, but that's just who I am. Like, I mean, that is the three things that, like, child abuse and all that stuff. I'm going to actually try to get some shows going on how to identify who you report to, how to get involved, but not honestly, like, just try to do an educational show on that, because, that's real present in our community, man. And it goes from things from, starvation to, physical to sexual, I mean, mental, all that stuff. There's so many different forms. And I'm going to try to educate people that watch the show enough to kind of see, like, if you see something, say something. Where do you go to? Like sometimes I'm super afraid to get involved, and one of the guys that guy I was talking about, he that went to jail from that area, he targeted the ones that didn't have any men in their lives, just a mama, because if the dad was too strong, he'd never get to him. You know what I mean? Because the dad would pick up on it right away. It's like, no, you ain't hanging out with that dude. You know what I mean? Yep. Whereas the mom sometimes just be happy some man's paying attention to their child, trying to mentor him a little bit. So lots of that kind of stuff. So anything else you want to talk about today that we didn't cover? I mean, I know you got to get out of here. I'm just happy I got you in here.
No, man, I'm glad to be here. Yeah. Man.
We've been talking about it for a long time.
I mean, no, not really. I mean, other than what we've got going on, the coins,
Jesus Christ,
bounty hunting, the cars, the private investigations. We do a little bit of everything.
So, and trying to have a life.
Yeah. And
what I did see this weekend that y'all did that's unusual? You had a lake day.
I did. And that's very hard. I tell you what, my family has been on to me for probably the last 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe the last couple of months. I'll say a couple of weeks because it goes by so fast, but they've been begging me saying, hey, you need to take a break. We got to get some time. And bad thing about it is we had to squeeze that day in too, because Friday my son's got, 4 or 5 7v7s, and then he goes straight from 7v7 from Memphis over to a basketball game. He has 2 basketball games at school. Leave there to go to Arkansas State Saturday for a combine. Man. Then we decided to go on up to Heber that Sunday on the lake.
Yeah. Is that where y'all at, Heber Springs?
Yeah, and then turn right back around, and here we are.
Did y'all have a boat?
No. We could have got one. I've got friends up there. We could have got. We was already up at A-State, so we just decided. Lake. Oh yeah, we just decided to go up and hang out on the beach area.
That'd be a good school for him. Like A-State's good.
Yeah. I love it. I tell you what, I love the facility. I love the coaches. He loves them. They love him.
A lot of big time people come out of A-State.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, some of your coaches too, by the way. Yeah.
We're Arkansas boys too. So,
are you? Originally?
Yeah.
Yeah, because y'all came out of Helena, West Helena.
Yeah, Kalen was actually born in Fayetteville.
Okay.
Yeah, he was born probably 2 miles from Razorback Stadium.
Yeah. And I guess you got over here because Dad's job at the casino.
Yeah, well, I was coming back here anyway, and I decided to come back. I was going to move back home. Yeah. But home's not home anymore.
Right.
Helena's about like Memphis now.
Oh, my God. Yeah, it's rough down there,
and that's how I ended up in this area, because
a lot of people that grew up down there talk about that. Clarksdale,
it's bad.
Sheriff Tuggle was talking about how bad the gang element is down in the Delta area, and how it's like infiltrating our schools up here because they're trying to expand their enterprises in these areas, our schools even, like their drug enterprise and stuff. You would think it'd be more out of Memphis. I think there is some, but he said it's predominantly coming out of the Delta.
Yeah, it is. You got a lot of stuff coming out of Greenville, Greenwood, Clarksdale.
Yeah.
That whole Tunica.
Yeah. So, folks, if you're listening to this, it ain't just a quiet little country town. Them places got some problems.
If anybody knows Clarksdale, they know that.
Oh, my God, yeah.
We went down to Clarksdale about 4 years ago, and we stayed, I think, 5 days down there to clean up some warrants. We had probably 10, 15 warrants down there. And we recovered almost, I think, 13 pistols.
Oh, wow.
In those 5 days from people running and throwing them from us.
Yeah, because they always just want to throw away the evidence. Yeah. So
and it was about the same time they had all them guns stolen down there, so we believe that was a lot of them.
Again, something that you would know, and if you're not like following some news media close by, you wouldn't know about that because it's not transparent. They don't release a lot of stuff. That's a problem at all southern towns. It's not just Mississippi, by the way. I think most communities do not want all the dirt coming out, so like it's natural. But you work for us,
And just like Clarksdale right now, they don't want to tell the public there's a serial killer out there.
There is one.
There is. There's a guy shooting people out there at Friars Point all the time.
Oh, my God.
There's 4 or 5 victims now in the same place.
I hadn't even heard that shit. Yeah. What are you talking about? Tell me about that.
So there's one of my friends I went to school with.
Get up on the mic, bro.
Oh, sorry.
Well, we want to hear this good. That's what I'm trying to say.
One of my buddies that I went to school with through grade school growing up, Dustin Patton.
Okay.
He was murdered there not even probably 3 months ago.
Oh, my God, man.
And he was out there checking on the pivot on the farm, come out, and the guy starts shooting through the back glass, hit him with an AR-15.
And they don't even know who this is.
And they don't know who the guy is. He's done shot several cars, done killed a couple people down there.
And they ain't talking about
Same area. Nobody's talking about nothing. Now, don't get me wrong, Clarksdale did put out a statement about it.
Sure.
But they're not
calling it what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're saying
they're not saying that this guy is a serial shooter, and that's exactly what he is.
Wait, do you remember back, it's probably been, man, I don't even know how many years ago. I mean, time flies, dude. And you'll know this, like at 42, I was pretty clear-minded. 52, you know, and I'm sure at 62 it'll be worse. but I will say this. You remember the Highway 3 guy?
Yeah.
He was serial killer.
Yep.
Remember, he was killing guys. And that was just like down in Tunica area. Yeah. Like he was traveling Highway 3 and pulling people over, pretending to be a cop and murking them right there, man. That was crazy. Do you remember that?
A long time ago.
That's probably been 20 years ago, maybe.
I don't remember personally, but I have heard about it and read about it.
Yeah. I mean, that was when we were all working at casinos, and we were all like, what the fuck? Like, everybody drives that road going home and back and forth, and we didn't. And so it became this thing, like, and the cops are having a tough time because, like, when they'd legitimately be trying to pull people over, they didn't want to stop. So then they had to put out a statement to where go to a well-lit area. The cops know that from now on, until we get this solved, you're going to have to be in a place to where you feel comfortable. Yeah. But now if you run, we're going to chase you like you're running. Yep. You know what I mean? They did tell them that. But yeah, it was so crazy, man. Like every community, I'm sure there's some in Memphis. Like, I mean, we don't know for sure because there's so much wild stuff that goes on. We literally was just talking about that yesterday. Yeah. There's no telling when you're passing by a house that's got somebody locked in there. Man, you don't. Or anything. Kids being trapped in there. You know, you just like in Florida, they just rescued 60 kids down there in Florida, nuts, you know, man, from a trafficking,
sex trafficking. Yeah.
I was watching
kids
an episode.
from age 7 to 19.
Jesus, man. Yeah, I need to do some stuff on that too. You know what I mean? Because we got long platform stuff here we can talk about with. Do you know anybody that you want to put on here to talk about that stuff?
I actually do. I'll get with him.
Man, that's awesome.
I got it.
Because I'd love to find out. And look, I know I'm like a boisterous. I'm kind of like an easy get along with, fun loving guy, and I like to help the community. But boy, man, I can get pissed off about some stuff like that. Like I'll be wanting to go on the stuff with you.
Oh yeah, real quick.
Yeah, I'll be wanting to go with you. And like if I catch him, I get him. Yep. You know, that kind of thing. Because the kids are, the innocent. You know, that's kind of how we look at them, and they are until you know. I mean, golly, man. Like think about, we grew up kind of fast. Like you're at the tail end of the Gen Xers. You know what I mean? Like I guess, right?
Yep.
Like, so we lived in a different time, raised a little different. You know, our kids a little bit soft, you know, nowadays opposed to how we was raised up.
Man,
you know, we were left out in the front yard playing all day. Nobody really checked on us, you know, and it's just a different day and time, man. You know, but the one thing I remind people about is like, especially in these communities where we grow up, the population wasn't here to worry about. You know, like there wasn't as many people, so there wasn't as many problems. Memphis, by the way, 30, 40 years ago, wasn't as bad a place either because the population wasn't as big, and the elements have changed. Just you know, resources changing, leaving the inner city, going out to the county areas, creating new towns like Germantown, DeSoto County blowing up, people pulling their resources with them. That leaves a lack of opportunity, and so naturally it goes to like, how do these people get stuff? Well, they just take
That's
it.
Exactly what I tell them. They murder, steal, rob. You don't have jobs. You've got all these young guys and young people out there looking for jobs, and a lot of them, don't get me wrong, just don't want to work.
A lot of them are just dumbasses.
But the majority of it, if you're going to keep these people in poverty, what do you expect them to do?
That's right. You
know, if you're not bringing in opportunities, I mean, if you look at Memphis, it looks like Detroit. Everything over there is being boarded up. Houses are being boarded up. Stores are being boarded up. But you can't bring jobs in there either because they're breaking in stuff and robbing them as quick as they can put the product in their store.
The cost. I mean, look, first of all, I'm going to tell you this, and you're going to know what I'm talking about exactly. On 3rd Street, it's the only Dollar General you've ever seen shut down. This thing wasn't even open a year.
Right
they could not keep them.
By the state line.
Yeah, they could not keep them. They were either robbing them through the front door, or they were robbing the truck in the back door trying to deliver, or coming in through the ceiling. And I mean, they finally just said, "To hell with it, we out." You know what I mean?
They robbed the place, I think, when they first opened up 4 times in a month.
Yeah. You know, and it's just in that little area, man. Like, not everybody's bad up there. You know what I mean? No. But there's just like this element that's like, that's the only way they're going to get stuff. And then they go back and try to sell it on the street. And our laws try to prevent all this. But man, there's not enough police to defend that stuff. You know, like they know they got them outnumbered. So the hard part is the punishment's got to fit the crimes. You know, like, you know, you can't just go into jail and bond out on your own recog for $100 and then, and then you're like, well, that didn't cost me much. Let me go do it again.
And that right there is the exact number one problem right there. You know, they're slapping them on their wrist. They're letting them right back out.
Yeah.
there's no repercussions.
None at all.
They're doing.
Yeah,
if they put their foot down, if you notice, there's only a handful for Memphis that'll come over here about once a month. You'll have about a handful of guys that's really getting in trouble over here.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot. You would, I think you would agree with this, especially the ones that are over 40. They don't play around down here. Because they know. Yeah, like their daddies told them.
They're giving life sentences over here.
Oh, yeah. So it's the younger ones that they haven't got quite the message. You know what I mean? I'm watching it close enough. They'll peek across thinking, oh, I got away that one time. Shit, man, it's just a matter of time. Listen, I've seen it happen. They will chase you till you hurt yourself. You know what I mean? Or they can get to you. Yep. You know what I mean? That's how that game, and I love that because I don't want that element down here. I want you to understand.
That's the best thing for us, yeah.
Yeah, where we live over there, it's kind of rural, right? So there's a lot of people, but like it's easy to get in and out of DeSoto County over there.
And one thing about that area over there, I will say that it doesn't matter what time of the day
they always got a presence. Yeah, they got a presence.
You're going to see a DeSoto County sheriff somewhere
every time. And I told
Walls too. Such a great department. I tell you what, man. The chief over there, he's really got it together over there. He's doing a really good job. He's always checking on the schools, even though the schools it's
in the county.
It's in the county, but it's dead right on the line there. So he still will check on Lake Coleman.
Funny story is like probably 20 years ago maybe not that long ago. It might have been during 07, 08 when all that economic downturn went loose and the budgets got kind of jacked up and all that stuff. And I think the DeSoto County Sheriff shrunk down a little bit and they pulled the resource officers. They'd keep them in the area, but they wasn't at the school. You know what I mean? Because things got lean. And at that time, I was my kids were all there and I went to the principal and I'm like, look, man, this police department's right across the street. I knew the chief back then, was Reggie, I think that's his name. I said, they're literally not doing much. You know what I mean? Like they could have a presence here in the mornings and afternoons. Yeah. I said, and meanwhile that sheriff is still in the area. So like if something really pops off, there's usually a highway patrolman within 10 miles of the place. But that presence is such a thing in the mornings, like, cause you got domestic shit going on when the kids are dropped off in the mornings.
Oh,
like that, like somebody shows up that didn't get to see their kid yesterday and he's going to find her in the morning when she drops the kid off. I mean, there's a reason why those guys are there. Like, so they have been a big part of that situation. And it is unusual. People don't realize that is a county facility over there. It's in the county. It is. And, but all the sheriffs are resource officers throughout the whole town. Or through the county, they all have the SROs. Yeah,
and they all they actually have two in every school now.
They do, and they stepped it up, man. I applaud Sheriff Douglas.
And it's great, it's really good.
And our board of supervisors, because without them, all of our county board supervisors, they're the ones who allocate the budget lines for that stuff. Because they know it's a huge cost.
Right.
And there again, I go back to if we can feed the inmates 3 meals a day, why do I need to feed my LAMS program?
Right.
Why can't we feed our kids every day at school 3 meals or 2 meals a day? And I think they agree with that. It's just like, how do we, put the money to it? Like, how do we find it? We'll find it somewhere. Let's just do it. Let's focus on it and make it happen. There's a lot of people depend on people like you and I, Tony, that give back to the community. Just like I know you do a lot of stuff, building projects and stuff like that to give back to the community, but it shouldn't just rely on that. I mean, we still do it, but we can make our community better as a whole. Sheriff Tuggle, all the chiefs, the mayors, they're all putting their money where their mouth is. And even Tate Reeves, allocated more money to this area to try and protect this county because it is their number one resource of revenue. They can't jack it up.
That's right.
One of the state senators came on here last week, and we give them like $500 million a year out of this county on revenue, so they don't need to jack that up. We are the number one source of revenue for them. So there's a reason why they give it back a little bit to kind of protect us. And man, look, when those guys said they was going to put more presence on that state line, there's never a time when it's not there. They're either busy chasing somebody or it's the only reason why they're not there.
They've got all kind of new cameras, flock cameras there on the roads. I mean, if you come in, they know every person that's coming in and out of the
Man, they do, man. So like if you guys are seeing this thing, you're sneaking in over there in the Walls area on 61 and 301, they're looking at you. Yeah, they're and they pick up on it right away. They've got resources beyond, and let me tell you, they will spend every ounce of energy that engine's got till it quits, till they get you, and then they're probably going to release the dog on you, just so you know, like just for good tickles.
No doubt.
Yeah, and I don't listen, man. I know it sounds harsh if you ever see those videos, but just don't run. I mean, just stop and go. Okay, you got me. And by the way,
I think everybody knows they don't want to run from DeSoto.
No, man, or Horn Lake or South Haven or any of the. All of them are been told You do what's the best to protect the community.
They're going to put a barrier on that wall.
Absolutely, man. So
and they're doing a good job.
They're doing a great job. So thank you guys for all that, and thank you for all the support that you give to them, because I know you have a big platform. You know, you could kill them. You know what I mean? You really could on that show, but you don't. You actually, you know, you call out the bad shit when you see it.
I do. And that's the thing, man. You know, I never have figured out what the deal is with the county and me. It's always
it ain't all of them.
No, it's not. It's not. We know that. There's a lot of them that I talk to on a daily.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of good you know, deputies in that department. I really think there's a lot that needs to be changed though as well. You know, which is in anything. You know,
every place is
there's
not
probably
perfect.
things I need to change too. You know,
I definitely know I do. You don't call my wife; she'll tell you about 40, 50 of them right off the top of her head.
I'm real quick to not bite my tongue, and I probably should sometimes.
Oh, man,
you know,
all of us do, bro. Like we're definitely, and nothing's a perfect scenario, but like if we keep bringing attention to it, we can change it. We can work on it,
and that's what we want. We just want transparency.
That's right,
transparency.
You know? Look, man, let's get some scanners. Can you start advocating for scanners on your show?
Doubt.
I mean, do you want scanners?
I would love it.
Yeah,
I mean, if we had it, it would help us too. Believe it or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
You never know. And one thing about it, you know, if something was to pop off in this county, we're going to stand behind Leo in a heartbeat. I'm going to tell you now, I've got 6 guys on my team, and I'm going to be honest with you, we're set up just like SWAT. I mean, we've got the same gear, same everything.
Yeah.
We've got underdoor cameras, drones. Sure. I've got,
you spent the money back on your program.
A long time ago, and I wanted to make sure that me and my guys are safe. And we get home safe every day.
That's the main thing.
And we can do our job as well. As long as we've got all the tools, we're able to do our job.
You're not SWAT trained, but I'm sure you guys all went to the trainings to be able to handle the guns and stuff.
We do. We probably train more than the police departments around here, believe it or not.
Some police departments for sure.
We have an extensive background in training, and I know obviously it's not the police departments or the police academy.
Sure,
And so of course some people are going to look down and be like, well, what kind of training do you have? Well, I tell you, we get trained by the same people that train the police department.
Right.
You know, our instructor that we trained through ran the police academy here in Mississippi for a long time.
Right.
You know, so we're getting the same training.
You just don't have the same authorities. Right, and I mean, the big difference is, but like I said, it's something that every area has fugitive recovery officers, but for a reason, because the confines of law, the laws, they can't cross the state line sometimes. You can go over there or another county to where you're like, well, let me, go get him for you. You know what I mean?
Well, we had that instance this week. You know, I was called and said, hey, I got a guy in Memphis. He's on bond.
Yeah.
We can't get over there. Shelby County's tied up. Can you get him? So
so they need extra hands.
We get him and bring him back.
And you did a great job at it. And that gives you, it's a good living. I think it's a dangerous living, to be honest with you. It's definitely dangerous.
It's one of the most dangerous jobs in the world.
I believe that. Yep. Yeah, I believe that. And I think that, and being a Leo, you know what I mean? Like, that's a dangerous job.
It is.
Especially a highway patrolman, they don't realize, a lot of times they're by themselves.
All by themselves out on the interstates, dark rural roads.
Oh, man. And they don't know who they're walking up on. So they dudes are tough. They are tough. So my oldest,
why they hire a lot of ex-Marines too. for
sure. And I could go on days about my admiration for that and veterans and all that stuff. Like I'm just the same way everybody else. I'm all about America. So but however, man, you do amazing stuff. I don't want to keep you all night. I know you got business. You probably got to leave here and go on a fugitive recovery hunt
all right.
So I was gonna say, like, let's go eat, and you're like, I ain't got time, man. I gotta get a coin show going. I gotta hunt fugitives. I gotta build a car by midnight, and somewhere I gotta see my girlfriend and give her a little kiss or something. So, but man, I appreciate you coming on. We'll do it again. I know it's sometimes like our schedules, like your thing. The last couple times we tried to book, you're like, dude, I hate this. This is why I hate this, because I can't do shit. You know what I mean?
And it does, man. It doesn't matter what we do.
Yeah, you almost had to cancel today.
All that today. I called you and I told you, I was like, hey man, if I can get back down there, I will. But hey, I made it.
You did just in time.
I told my girl, I was like, man, I feel bad because I've had to put Neil off like so many times. I was like, I got to go.
Well, and I feel like I know you really well, and I don't. Like, we're just kind of like acquaintances from the community, and like you started seeing me when I was doing the Be My Lamb stuff, about 4 years ago, and you said, man, I can't do it this year, I'll do it next year, and blah, blah, blah. It all works out. But long story short of it, that's how we know. I watch your social media. I think it's amazing, the fun stuff you do. I love it when you call people out. I like too when you call their bullshit, and you also recognize them for a good job.
That's right. So we get a lot of people that we pick up, and I think this is the most rewarding part about my job. We pick up a lot of people that's been in addiction for a long time.
Yeah.
And to see, there's been several cases that we pick people up, and 5-6 months later, we're reading about them in the obituary.
Oh my God.
And there's been a lot of cases also where we've helped and we've turned these people to the right sources to be able to get them help. And now we look back and they're thanking me. They're like, hey, you know, there's two of them in particular, two particular cases that really sticks with me a lot. And we got the guy and the girl. One girl was completely out of it. She was been gone. I mean, you would not even recognize this girl now.
Yeah.
She's got her kids back. She's doing good. Everything, all because of, you know, our help. And of course, her want.
Right, you got to get them in the facility, like back to jail. And then like some judge goes, look, you're not a bad person. You just got this real problem. So in order for you to leave here early or do something in your life, you've got to commit to this 12-month program at the Warrior Center for Women in Olive Branch, or whatever the case, whatever, you know what I mean?
Some type of rehab.
Miss Ann's Lunsford's Precious and Pink House. You know, I've had all those guys on here, by the way. I love the recovery stories.
Yeah, and that's the thing with us. There's not enough of that. There's not enough resources.
There's not enough women's resources for sure. One of the things, Jake Linton and Sarah Linton, they run Tried and True Recoveries. They're sober living houses here, and they have like 4 of them in DeSoto County. They kind of get you after you've left the rehabs, kind of help you situate back in life. You know, there's another step to it. Yep. And so they had a women's house, and he was telling me the statistics behind it. Like 1 out of every 10 drug problems will ask for help, and 1 out of 10 of them will be a woman. So it's real, because the women are afraid they're going to lose their children, their lifestyles, all this stuff. They'll lose their men. So they're very slow to get that help. And it has to, usually they're in an extreme situation by the time they have to get it. And like you said, they got to want it. They got to want it.
Got to want it. If you don't want it, you can hang it up.
You can't force them. So like those success stories, I met a few. Like every time I have a recovery group on, like whether it be Stacy Dodd with the Woodland Recovery and all those places, I want to talk to people spin through their programs. And they always, like all of them, typically like, saved my life. I had Betsy Bailey on last week. 2 weeks ago, she came on the show and she went through Ann Lunsford's house down there. And Ann's like, I don't think Betsy liked me. I said, she actually loves you. Now that she's sober, looking back on it, you know, it's hell when she was there, you know, all that stuff. But she's like, that place saved my life. Her rules kept me from, and now she's 3 years into it, recovery. She's wrote a couple of books, you know, and all this stuff. It's amazing, you know, and that's the kind of stuff I love to do on the show, you know, and it's the same thing back with the correlation of what you do. You help get them back there, because people don't realize, like, somebody's got to go find them and put them in jail. Might be a family member, put a writ out on them. You know what I mean? Something of that nature.
Many lives have been saved by us picking them up.
Hell yeah. You know? Hell yeah. So and then like somebody catches them at the jailhouse. Once you get them there, like Miss Ann, you know, she goes in the jails. You know, and then Stacy Dodd, they go in the jails and they start talking to these people and trying to bring them back around. A lot of times through faith recovery stuff. And they'll say, I need to go with you when I leave here. You know what I mean? Like, that's my next step. But it starts with somebody like you finding them, or an officer that goes and picks them up and says, hey dude, you've run your last, you know, it's time. You got to come somewhere. Yeah. And like, you're not going to get out this time in 10 days. It just ain't going to happen. So you're going to go to Parchman, unfortunately. And I always think that like punishing somebody that's a user like that's not they're not selling, is extreme. But sometimes it takes taking their freedom from them to make them realize they need to help, because it's not a one size fits all. Everybody's stubborn in their own way. Who are you to tell me what to do with my life? You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And so sometimes it takes that judge going, yeah, buddy, 5 years. 5 years you're going to get.
And you're going to change.
You're going to change real quick. Yeah, and you may get better drugs in jail, but guess what? You lost your freedom. So you better get on top of things and get out of there, you know. I don't think you're getting stuff in the local jails, but like at the state level, I think they do. And I've been told that before. Like, man, if you got the right money, you can get better stuff in there than you get on the street. So that's sad, but I think it's an unfortunate part of our society.
That starts with the jailers.
Oh, my God. Holly Springs. Have you been watching that down there? I mean, they got all kinds of shit going on down there, man. They got, it seems like what do you call it? The hens running what is it? What do they call it? Inmates running the asylum. I mean, that's pretty much what's going on with them. It is. I was trying to say something about the hen house.
TVMO, they've been covering a lot of that out there.
Oh, I've been watching that stuff.
TVMO is another good resource.
Dude, he don't hold nothing back.
He don't. He's like us. He wants transparency.
Didn't he get arrested because of his transparency?
And I'm sure that's going to be thrown out too.
Oh my God, man.
And he's probably going to end up having a huge lawsuit against him over there.
They ain't got no money? Yeah. Holly Springs ain't got no money?
I mean, he's going to get what they do got.
Oh my God, man.
Probably shouldn't have arrested him on
that. Whole town's jacked up, bro. Like, just from their utility department to everything. And they got a state prison over there, which shouldn't even be associated, but somehow it's like because all the community works there, and they got a drug problem, people ODing, they got fights, they got all questionable kind of shit going on with that guy resigned, didn't he? The administrator over the jail like a couple of weeks ago. He was like, I don't even want to answer for this stuff. I know it's jacked up. This thing got in the public, somebody knows about it. So anyway, Tony, look, man, we could talk all night. I know you got to go. I got to go. Thank you again for coming on. Remember, guys, check out Frog.
One more thing, if you don't mind.
Yeah, man.
We are looking for some sponsors for the Lake Cormorant High School Booster Club.
Yeah.
So if anybody out there is interested in maybe doing some sponsoring for the Booster Club to feed some of the kids sometimes.
Yeah.
During or after football games, let us know. We'd love it and appreciate it. Put a big sign out there on the fence for y'all at the school, so.
Yeah, I told you, they asked me to be their announcer this year.
I really wish you would have, man.
I just got so much going on.
I already know. I really wish you would.
It would have been fun. I've got my buddy Chris, Coach Camp. He does a show here at the SRP Studios. I was like, I'm not your guy, but he's the guy. So he called him. I think he's going to do it.
Oh, sweet.
Because he's like a real rah-rah guy, He'll be up there trying to imitate Howard Cosell or somebody probably. But it'll be fun, and he's exciting. I know football. I know it really well, and I would love to watch everybody play the game. I mean, especially your son. I'm so intrigued by what he's got going on.
I really think he's going to have a breakout year this year.
I think so too, man. And like I said, for a sponsorship, Lake Cormorant's getting a lot of exposure. Those games are packed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it ain't.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like they used to when they first opened up. They've probably been there about 12 years now, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
They called them the children of the corn.
That was in the middle of a cornfield.
That was what they used to call them. And when my kids went to high school there, it was like, well, it's kind of, everybody calls us children of the corn all over the place, and it's true because there's cornfields surrounding the thing. And, but man, there's a lot of notoriety there. Like I was telling you earlier, the big name schools get there. There's a lot of exposure. You may see like a big time scout from Alabama or somebody there, every game. And not just football, but basketball, all that stuff. Their softball teams are big, the baseball, everything's
volleyball
good.
With state champs and volleyball.
Absolutely, man. Basketball, girls,
program.
Great sport. Big pool of talent, and great resources that we need support. It goes back to, man, we was kids. I don't remember paying all that money for that shit. You know what I mean? It was like football season here, basketball, baseball. You had the summer off. You might show up for football about the middle of August, do some two-a-days.
They start right after school's ending, football practice.
I couldn't do it, man.
Next week.
I needed my freedom.
Yep.
Maybe that's why we were bad apples. You know what I mean? Because
that's why we didn't play sports no more.
I mean, I played a lot of sports, but I
did too, but I didn't stick with it.
But I had to I needed that free time. In between but now, man, it's year round. If you're playing and it costs a lot of money. You know that.
Oh man,
I bet you if you had to go back and I bet you don't even look at it. I bet you don't. Yeah, you just got to be like, hey, it's just what it is.
It's so pricey now. It's unreal.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man.
My son's cleats $400. Come on,
Jesus.
Just for a pair.
Did they help him run faster?
I hope.
Cut better or something. Yeah.
He sent me the link on him. I said, "Are you serious?"
God. You're like, well, I guess.
He deserves it though.
Yeah, he's doing great things.
Butt off, so.
But back in the day, I was wearing somebody's helmet from 16 years ago.
Yep.
And it had the same mouthpiece hanging on it from last year from somebody else, ear pads barely fit. You know what I mean? Did you play like that?
I was like that too.
Oh man. So
whatever we could find in the old locker room in school, that's what we wore.
Dude, it was horrible, man. I finally, when I got to high school, you start getting a better gear, but anything below high school, you're getting the hand-me-downs big time, man. So, I mean, shoulder pads, some of them little dudes, shoulder pads be just hanging on the ground almost on them, But, just sports, I understand it, but also it puts a lot of burden on people's families. So I also know y'all looking for people from the Booster Club to help support these other children that are involved, that kind of help them purchase some of the things that they need on the team.
Yep.
Kind of make all things equal. You know what I mean? So, if you're listening to this and you want to sponsor a child on not just Lake Cormorant team, but I'm sure every team in DeSoto County needs it.
A lot of teams.
Whether it be football, baseball, but football is the ongoing thing now, so we want to focus on that. Sponsor it, get your billboard up on the school, advertise. I'm always looking for sponsors, and hell, if you don't want to sponsor me, sponsor them. And I bet you Frog's going to have a board down there.
Yeah, we usually do. We usually do. We try to support them.
Well, they charge a year for the board.
It's different prices. I think they start at $100, $150 to go up to 500.
Yeah.
So it's not a lot for a business to help kids.
Yeah, and it's a write-off.
And even if you don't want to do that, I mean, you can even buy a meal for the kids. Not, I think last year was 110 kids.
Yeah.
And like my girlfriend, she's a manager at Central Barbecue. They come in and fed all the kids one day.
That's great, man. Yeah. That's a lot of money.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is. I think it was $1,500, $2,000 to feed all of them.
Yeah, that's crazy. But shout out to Central Barbecue.
Yeah.
So like, and as you make connections, this, like in our world, like making connections is everything. Like networking. It ain't about what I can do for you today or you do for me today. It's like, man, that's the guy I need right now, and then if you've been good to them, they'll help you in return. Sometimes they'll just help you anyway.
They will.
And
they will.
I'm all about it. I try to help as much as I can, but I got my limits too. You know what I mean? I mean, we all do. Like, if I keep buying these fucking coins, I ain't even going to pay my light bill. So
I trust me. I know I'm in the same boat.
Listen, I need you to block me on that page.
Look, I buy just as much as I spend or sell.
Just block me on the coin page. I won't be taking it personal. It's going to be doing me a favor.
It's funny you say that because I literally I'll sell $700-800 worth of coins and $600 is going right back into somebody else buying them. So I've actually got my own separate bank account just for the coins.
Yeah, it's probably smart, man.
Yeah, and so we know what's coming in, what's going out, or whatever. So
all right, guys. Well, remember all the late comment stuff we talked about. Frog, Fugitive Recovery, mostly a Facebook page. I'm just going to say that's everything is Facebook. And I'm the same way. So if you want to give me a like and follow, if you like Tony's, we live close together. Obviously, I don't know how much I can help him, but it gives him a long form sit down. I don't do that very often, if any. I don't even know if you've done that before, have you?
Well, come on the show?
Yeah, like a long form one.
The last time I think I come on the show was for my son, which was but it was a racing show for my son.
Okay.
He was doing all the racing out in by Hellier.
Okay.
And we was on that show too as well.
I got you. Well, look, man, have him back on. We'll bring Kalen on.
Yeah,
we'll talk about sports, and like promote him. Because I mean, nowadays is what you know, who you know, all that stuff,
Yeah, he'd like it.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, go and follow Tony on Facebook if you're not already. I mean, I just got my 1,000th follower today. So it's not like I'm a huge page, but
we're going to try to make it bigger than that.
Yeah, right. So, but I'm really happy about that. In a short period of time for my show page, that's pretty good for me, for a local
thing. Can't beat it.
I'm not trying to be national. I'm just trying to be local podcaster just so we get local things. So thank you all for following. Go follow Frog if you don't know him, because I ask people all the time, my age group probably like, Frog, who the hell is that? But it's Tony Yeager. And I think you have two pages. You got the Frog page, and then you also your own page. So you got followers on both. And then Frog Fugitive Recovery Group, Fugitive Recovery Group at gmail.com. And on Facebook, it's just Frog, right?
Yes. You type in Frog Fugitive, it'll be the first thing pops up.
Yeah, gotcha. And then 901-900-6805. And of course, remember, he's got the coin name. What was it?
Frog Bounty on Whatnot.
Frog Bounty on Whatnot. Listen,
name of the show's Coin and Capture.
You'll have a lot of fun because I'm blocking myself from the page. Because I'll be tearing them folks up.
Don't let him lie to you. He'll see something nice.
Listen, man, we'll be in a bidding war, like $5, $6, before you know it. It gets nuts, man. So, and then it's the excitement of it, and I'm like, damn, I won that thing.
And then I'm throwing in extra stuff as they're bidding, So.
It's amazing, man. Look, guys, remember the spot. You're welcome, man. You're welcome. Thanks for coming in today, taking the time out. Remember, Feed My Lambs, October 11th. We're going to have a great show. I'm going to try to bend his arm to come out and help support us.
We're there. We're there. Count us in.
So support-wise, as long as the holiday, it fits in his schedule, we're going to try to have it bigger and better this year. We're giving away a hot rod truck. Actually, I should say it would be more announced that it was something. We're probably not going to get it finished built, so we're going to do something else. But it's going to be a big, exciting giveaway. We'll be selling tickets for $100 a ticket to donation. Go straight to the program for the truck. And look, you don't got to be present to win. You just got to buy a ticket. And I hope you buy 10. So anyway, we'll be posting information how you can go to the website for Feed My Lambs to buy a ticket for the truck. That's minormemorial.org/lambs. And remember, Roofworks. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. See you.